G'day and welcome to another one of my videos. Today we're going to focus on finding the area of a parallelogram. So let's just have a quick review of what area is. So the area of a two-dimensional closed figure is the amount of space enclosed by the figure. So we're looking at this shaded area inside here. And what we can do is we can actually count squares within those figures. And in this case we've got 3, 6 by 4. And we actually measure the area of that by square units, so square millimeters, square centimeters, etc. And in this particular example, 6 lots of 4 gives us 24 square units. So let's have a look at how we find the area of a parallelogram. So here we have a parallelogram. Now remember, by definition, a parallelogram has opposite sides are equal and parallel, so we need to know or remember that this side is the same as this one, and this side here is the same length as that side. So what we do in a parallelogram, we have what we call a base and we have a height. Now sometimes that height is inside the parallelogram rather than on the outside, but it doesn't matter. So we can cut this parallelogram into two equal triangles by putting in a diagonal. All right, and now that we have that diagonal, we know how to find the area of a triangle, and we know that that diagonal actually cuts into two equal triangles here. So the base and the height here, and what we've got is a base and a height there as well. So area is a half times base times height. So we have a look at this bottom triangle, and in my previous video we showed that the area, regardless of whether the height's on the inside or outside, is a half times base times height, and I'll do that one in green because we're looking at that triangle there. And then we're going to have a look at that upper triangle there, remembering that its area is a half times base times height, and I've got that in the orange there. And if we want to find the total area of a parallelogram, then we just add these two areas up. So this area plus this area, and we notice we've got the same length with the bases and the same heights, and two halves make one whole. So a half BH plus another half BH gives us a full BH. So area is base times height in a parallelogram. So just be careful that you remember that your height and the base are perpendicular to each other. So sometimes the height's on the outside and sometimes the height is on the inside. So they're at right angles to each other. Okay, so in summary, to find the area of a parallelogram, we simply just multiply the base by its height. So there's its base and there's its height. And we have another parallelogram over here. We've got its base and we've got its height, and we've got a third parallelogram over here, and again we've got its base and its height. So area of the parallelogram is base times height, as we found, and the short way of writing that in algebraically is A equals BH. So let's look at some examples now. So we've got three examples there. We've got a parallelogram with a base of 10 and a height of 3. Another parallelogram with a base of 25 and a height of 8. Remembering the base and the height are always meeting at 90 degrees. And we've got a base of 3 and a height of 7. So in each case, first thing we need to do is write the rule. So area equals base times height. So 10 kilometers times 3 kilometers, so substitute in our base and our height, and we get an area of 30 kilometers squared. For our second one, again, let's write the rule, substitute in our base and our height, and do our calculation. So the area of that particular parallelogram is 200 millimeters squared. And our final one, so again, write the rule, substitute in our base and our height, and do our calculation. Just be aware though that sometimes you're given more information or sides than we need. So make sure that you use the base and the perpendicular height, because sometimes we might be given the other sides and we don't need to use them at all. So base times perpendicular height, base times perpendicular height, base times perpendicular height, and these extra bits of sides we didn't need for the area. So what we need to now do is to make sure that we practice and practice and practice some more, and the more that we do that, the easier we'll find that finding the area of a parallelogram is pretty straightforward. So hope you found this video useful and that you will be able to find the area of particular shapes quite easily now.